Good morning, everyone. Well, hello. I'm back from my gallivanting. As some of you would know, I've been down at Susanna's retreat that she hosts in Ballarat. Now, Susanna's channel, Vintage Blend Studios. So, I've now just got home. I guess I've had one day at home, sort of to recover. There's always that day on the couch, isn't there, where you just don't want to move. So I've had that day. And next morning, unpacking suitcases, washing clothes, new spring in my step, having had a bit of a break. And the first thing I need to do is show you all my goodies that I acquired while I was traveling. Now, I'm pretty sure this is the opening section of my video. I'm positive it is, but just in case it's not, there is a heap of footage of some of the activities we did. So I'm going to assume that I've slid them at the end of showing you all my goodies. So in no particular order, but sort of an order, I thought I'd do this first. Okay, so on one of the days, we took all the girls out to Ballarat. First of all, hi girls, how are yous? It was fantastic sitting and stitching with you all. A few familiar faces and a few new faces. So it was just awesome hanging out. There's something about charging the soul when you're sitting in your own space and you're stitching away for hours and hours and days on end, and you have YouTube as your connection. But to have the blessing of being able to sit with fellow like-minded stitchers, it's so good. When you're in your general world, often it's hard to find someone that is doing what you're doing. They're often playing cards or, just doing other things. And to find some souls that are just doing what you do is just, really, really a blessing. Anyway, getting all emotional. Let's show you my bits and bobs in no particular order. Like I was saying, we went to Ballarat, and Ballarat is just full of all sorts of little shops that have all sorts of things. And there's a couple that always catch my attention while I was there. The shop that I got these few items from specialises in just classic toys for children. Cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. It's right next door to the French linen store. And when I went in there, I found Sam's mother. Now, Sam and Julia, The Mouse Mansion, is the series of books and mice created by the family whose mother created the Mouse Mansion. Now, based in Amsterdam, there's now a museum dedicated to it and giftware shop, and I've been slowly picking up all of the mice. Now, I spotted a new book called Theatre. I didn't buy it. I thought, I've got two, that's fine. That's enough mousing. But I was wanting to get the parents. I've got Sam and Julia and some babies and a chef when I was in Newcastle. And I saw the mother and the father, Sam's mother. And I had them both in my hands, the mum and the dad. And I sort of started wandering around the store looking at, other things. And I spotted this little guy and I just fell in love with him. Now, he is handmade in support of Fair Trade Association. And he's just, I just loved him. And I was standing there, I was chatting to, I think, Rochelle and Mel, actually. Who else was with me at that stage? Anyway, beside the point. And I was like, I don't really need these two, and I know I'm hopefully, fingers crossed, if the world settles down, going to be going overseas again to Europe, and Amsterdam is on the list, and I'm hoping to see the Mouse Mansion. So I ended up putting the father away and getting this one, and lo and behold, like literally 5 seconds ago, I glanced over to my little collection of Mouse Mansion paraphernalia, and the father is there. So I had forgotten that I actually did get the father. So I would have had two. So I can't believe it. That was a close shave with a double up purchase. Happens every so often because you are, attracted to similar things. I seem to do it with books. Like I see books and I'm like, I'm sure I've got you. If I don't, I should. And then suddenly you got two. So I'm really stoked that I've got the mum, the dad's already here, the kids are here, and a chef. So I need to write that down in my phone. So if I do make it to Amsterdam to see the actual mouse mansion, I'll be able to have a look at the rest of the range, because there's very selected items here in Australia. Anyway, stop talking, Corrine. So they were my two little treats. Everything else is very much part of my little world of stitching. So every so often I like to get, you know, something quite random. Can't go past a bunny. So now in Style there's an antique store, and Susanna took the girls there. I didn't end up going that day. I decided I'd sit and stitch with the ones that didn't want to go out to Style for a bit of a drive. I went the previous day because I wanted to get some of these little reels. Now, Susanna and I are going to do a Christmas project where we're going to make some Christmas ornaments using a cotton reel. And there's just so many great ideas out there, and we've wanted to do it for years, and this is the project we're going to do at Christmas. So if anyone wants to join in, you've got a bit of time to collect a little spool or a cotton reel. Now these ones, just to give you some measurements, 4 centimetres or not quite 1 3/4, 1.5. Oh, so close. So Susanna has grabbed some. I've now got some. If your spools have threads on them, fine. If they have some slow stitch on them, even better. How exciting is that? Mine will most likely end up with some form of decorative something or other. I haven't thought that far. It's Christmas, for goodness sakes. Don't need to worry about that just yet. I've got a little selection of them, and Susanna's going to make hers into a Christmas decoration for a Christmas tree. My plan is to make a village. So I don't know how yet, but I'm going to do miniature little houses on them. So they'll be, you know, 1.5 to 2 inches tall. So yeah, something to think about if you want to join me. That'll be later in the year. So they're ready to roll. I'll pop them back into that plastic bag for now until I find a home for them. So now, what else did we get? This here is from the mill markets. Now you will see me taking you for a video tour around the mill markets. And I found this. And I just think it's beautiful. Look at that. I can't remember if I filmed it or not, if I was actually filming with you guys. I think it was right near the end. And I actually had to stop filming, to be honest, because they changed the radio station and the sound was so loud, and I was getting weary too. So I just stopped filming. So you probably didn't see me stumble on this. Beautiful. Look at the petty point in the center there. Tiny, tiny little stitches. So I've got a few little pieces where this is inserted into the piece. I think last time I was down there with Susanna, I got a little cigarette tray. Where's that? Got to, oh, I can see it. I'll just grab it and show you. There. I just think they're gorgeous. And having some stitching built into a piece that is decorative for me is just the best jam in the world. So it still has its original little tag, made in England, hanging here, which is just gorgeous. So that was my little antique find. It was really reasonably priced too. Often they're, you know, getting very expensive. So let's put that to one side. Okay, a couple of gifts coming forward now. So the gorgeous Linda, oh, look, whenever those girls were not supervised, they were disappearing into thrift stores, op shops. So it was just hilarious. It was like, where have you two been? Talking about you, Rochelle and Mel. We've been to an op shop. So it was really fun, really, really fun. So near So Darn Special, which you'll see the haul there and the video, was another thrift store, and Linda come back with this. Like, isn't this just perfectly suited for a certain mouse house? Very, very cool. So I can't wait to deconstruct this piece and utilise it in my chateau. Fantastic. Thanks, Linda. Now, little gift. This is from my mate Vicki, Hi, Vicki. And look who this is. Now, Vicki has grabbed the mouse making mansion phase in our lives with gusto, and she's on to so many different mouses and so many versions of mouses that she's leaving me for dead. And she made a policeman for my chateau. Now, if you've watched the most recent episode in the Thimbleberry Chateau scandals, there's a thief taking refuge in the house, and Skeeter has fallen in love with him. He's a real bad boy. His name's Scooter, and he's got a couple Van Goghs under his arm, and they're now stashed in the house, and Molly is just disgusted. Her best friend, she is just not happy. Well, it's inspired young Vicki to make some policemen. Isn't he gorgeous? Now, Vicki is from Claremont. If you go to Rockhampton, out to Emerald, out to Claremont, that's where Vicki is based. And I've decided to call him Inspector Le Claremont, French twist on an Aussie country town. So you'll see him pop up in future videos because he's going to arrive in the chateau and try and flush out a rumour that he's heard that there, Vic, I just pulled his whiskers out. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to rethread that. Sorry, son. Oh my goodness, how rough am I? I'll have to push them back through. Oh my goodness. Sorry, Inspector Le Claremont. All right, so that's that little guy. And then Vicki gave us all these little fidget clickers. I just think it's just gorgeous. I can't remember what she said's inside there. It's probably one of those clicky things. But anyway, it's beside the point. So Mr. Bunny here, little crocheted rabbit, he's going to feature in a project at, not Christmas, Easter. So he needs to just sit one side so I can grab him when I'm ready. And Mr. Mouse that I've just pulled his whiskers out. Speaking of mice, in the video coming up of the mill market, you'll see a little short clip of this stand. It sort of looked like a grandfather's clock case that they'd taken the centre out of, but I don't think it was. It was a really odd cabinet, and in there were ballerina mice. No, not mice like what I do, real mice that had been taxidermified, and they were in there. I just looked at the footage again, and unfortunately it's not as clear as it could have been because it had a glass front and my camera reflected back. You can see me really good in the reflection, but you can't really see the mice. But they were actual mice, like, mangy looking things with little pink tutus. So it's probably good that you can't see them because, to be honest, they looked feral. It was a bit gross. So anyway, I waved to you in the reflection of that. So this was a little gift from Rochelle and Mel. I haven't opened it yet. I shall save that for a rainy day. When I get little packages like this, I tend to put them all aside but still together. So when I do a project and I'm just looking for something new to be part of my creative process, it's lovely to pick up these and go, well, I didn't have to put this together. This is something new to play with, and that's when I actually explore all of the elements in them. So I will do that with the girls' little gift. Now, what else am I looking at? I've got piles everywhere. What will we do next? We'll go to the French shop. Look at this, guys. This is a French box, French covered fabric box. I just thought it was gorgeous, with one of my favouriteest types of fabrics. Look at her. Isn't she beautiful? It was pretty expensive, I thought, for a fabric covered box, but you know, it's not really, because it's come from France and there's exchange rates and all of the, that goes with it. And inside are just some more treasures. I restocked my pins. I bought from Gail's Patchwork some more applique pins. They are hard to find around the traps, so when I saw them, I'm like, I could do with more of them. And some more of these ones. I like these. They're patchwork pins. They're sharp, they're fine, and I use them all the time. So I really, really needed some pins. Still at Gail's, this is a little key with a bunny on it. So I've got that in mind, an Easter project. So I need to put that to one side as well, so I don't lose it. A gift, I believe, this is Carolyn gave us this. You get up from your desk and go and get a sneaky scone from the munchy table, and you come back and there's gifts on your where you're sitting. So I hope I got that right. Hi Carolyn, if that was you. I'm pretty sure it was. Another little gift. Oh, I think this is Leanne. Hi Leanne. She's a rat bag, that girl. She's hilarious. Another little container to put treasures in. I love these. I've got hexagons in these, you know, the really tiny ones, and I put a magnet there, holds the needle, the hexagons themselves, some cut pieces of fabric. Like, these are just so handy. I know they're tiny. Look at this. This is wrapping paper that Inspector Claremont was wrapped in, or was he? Might have been something else. Vicki? I can't remember. Anyway, I know you girls will forgive me if I got the wrong name on the wrong person. This is vintage sewing patterns. And, you know, I pulled the thing apart, the parcel apart, and actually scrunched it up without even thinking. It was like just an instinct to tidy up my space. And Vicki said, oh, they would make great, you know, wall art or whatever for the mouse mansion. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just didn't connect the dots. So I flattened it back out, and I said to her, actually, I really like it all scrumpled because it's a mouse mansion. It would not be pristine. So I'm going to pop these in my mouse mansion stash. Whether they suit the time frame that this mansion is, you know, created, not really, but, you know, it's styled like a French chateau. Maybe it's a 1970s mouse. I don't know. I'm thinking too much about the storyline of mice. Some more treasures from the girls. Look at the scissor protectors. Very clever. That I need to put on those sharp, nasty little scissors of mine. A little bookmark with a little trim. Oh, the girls, this is so cool. I believe this is you, Leanne, isn't it? I think it is. I love these butterflies. I've used them so many times on projects, plus some little charms. So they'll all go into my dingle-dangle box, bits and bobs. Now back to the French store. These were 3 little pieces of linen that she just had in a big basket, and they were like a couple dollars each. But what they hold are these 3 medallions. Like, seriously, you go all over France and Italy looking for these treasures, and then you end up at Ballarat and you find these treasures. Like, it's just, they're so gorgeous. Look at this for a piece. Now, to me, they need a gentle clean. They're pretty grimy. To me, that's silk, like a printed on silk, painted on silk. I don't know much about them. I need to Google search them and find out what they're all about, but oh, they're just gorgeous. And then this one. So on the back is just a hanging design, registered design 01 4x6. I wonder what all that means. Made in Italy, so they're Italian. Look at that, made in Italy. They're like a cast mould. Can't wait to explore that. So they were my special find. And then just a couple pieces of linen. So they'll go to the laundry and can be then just added to the stash. All right, so what else did I get? Now up here, look at the haul on these buttons. I use these all the time and you just don't come across them easily. So I found some of these, some of those. Really pleased with those. And like, I hate to tell you how much they cost because they were so inexpensive. And this was at the vintage store at Smilesdale, not Snarlsdale. They were $2 a card, guys. Like, oh, I remember buying these around the COVID time. Was my first purchase of a linen covered button, and I think Anne Brooks put me onto them when we were doing 52 tags. I'm like, what is a linen covered button? And when I saw them arrive in the mail, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember them in Grandma's, you know, space when she was doing her seamstress work. And I can tell you I paid a hang of a lot more for those few miserable little cards. So that was really cool. Now, what else have we got? We've done that pile over there. So Gail's Patchwork, we'll do that store next and just show you some bits and bobs. Now, went in mind with trims. And I'm looking for narrow trims to enhance my postcard keeper. And with the postcard keeper from Italy's postcards and fabrics and some of Rachel's fabrics, I'm also doing one of the treasure keepers as well. They fold out into the cross in shape, and then in it all goes. And yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So I was looking for some trims that were really small, and Gail didn't really have small, tiny, itty bitty ones. That belongs to another store. She had probably that is my smallest, and then it went up in size. So I really didn't achieve anything with the project in mind. I've already snipped this bit off of this one, but I thought, you know, I'll use them. You know, can justify it. So they were the 4 trims, and then I got some of the velvet ribbon as well. I used the blue version of this that I bought the year before on the sample of Susanna's project that she presented to the girls at the retreat. So I knew that that red velvet was one of my favourites. I then found some of these. They're little appliques with an iron-on process. So they were really reasonably priced. So I picked up those with the Easter project in mind because they're, you know, fresh and bright. So I grabbed those. I'll put them to one side because that's all part of that Easter project coming. I got another one of these. I love this one. I've got it attached to one of my travel caddies that I take regularly when I travel, and it's on an old bracelet that belonged to my mum. So it's become a bit of a bracelet charm, which is then attached to this caddy. And it was so attached so well that I didn't really want to take it off and attach it to the caddy that I travelled with this time. So when I saw it, I grabbed it because I'll just put it on another caddy. They cut threads. There's a blade hidden there. So absolutely airport safe. So you won't get it confiscated. So I'm a bit of a fan of that. This is a range of fabric. When you watch my video of the Gail walkthrough, Gail's shop, you'll see me spot this, and it just caught my eye, something different. When I'm doing quilts, I like a bit of black in the quilt just to calm the colour that is often in a quilt. And when I saw these fabrics, I thought, yeah, they'll be handy. If not in a quilt, like how good is that ready for slow stitching? Just beautiful. Really, really, really pretty. So this is a new range of fabric that's out, and in the video you'll see quite a stack of them. The colour range sort of went from quite large print to this right down to small little prints. So there's quite a selection there, and something a bit different. There's a little bit of gold in it, which I thought was a bit funky. So that, I just got the minimum cut of those. And Gail has these little motor charm packs. Well, is this actually called a charm pack? Yeah, charm packs. So they're 5-inch square for $26. And this one caught my eye. I just thought it was a lovely little colourway. Sandalwood by Three Sisters. Just pretty. Some great colours in there, from soft apricots through to slightly darker colour in the apricot family, like nearly a rust, through to the aqua, and then into navy blue. And you know I'm a bit of a fan of the blues, so I just thought that was a very pretty pack. I have a bit of a project I'm mulling around in my head at the moment, and it uses this size fabric as the starting point to create. So yeah, I've got like heaps of fabric, and I could go and cut up, 5-inch squares. But when you pull out a piece of fabric like that and you take one square out of it, I always have this feeling that, you know what, I'm going to regret nibbling out this bit, because this might be good for a bigger project where you need, strips or just, and you'll be one square short. So my head got in the way of my heart and said, oh, don't cut. Get yourself a little charm pack. And the other thing is it's colour coordinated, so one does not have to think much. She can just go for it. So that's the reasoning behind that. Another project for another day. I'm a bit of a shop within a project. If I don't have something in mind, don't spend. Otherwise it can get out of control. Now, this next shop I've never been to. Now, where's the business card? I promised the girls faithfully I would show the business card, and I did a great video in there. They were so lovely, so darn special. Another great store in Ballarat, and they do alterations on clothing there, which is, gosh, getting hard to find these days. And then they just have a store full of buttons, the wall of buttons and the wall of wool. Probably half the store is actually yarn and wool. Ballarat gets cold, so it totally makes sense. So they're a very big knitting and crocheting supplies business, but in amongst it, they had a lovely range of notions, and that's where I got that from. So these spindle stands that spin, and you can get pins, and anyway, you know what I mean. So darn special. They have a website that you can order from, and you can, if you can't find it on the website, the girls said just give them a call and they will work out what you're talking about or what you've seen, and grab it for you. So once again, some trims, Easter in mind, and some more little trims. These are the ones that I was actually keen to find in Gail's, but they were more that classic embroidered trim where I wanted some of these little guys, and they're perfect for, small projects. So just a few little colours. And then Easter in mind, I picked up the yellows in the rickrack. I can't decide if, at the time I couldn't decide if I'm going to do a bright Easter project or a pastel Easter project. And then when I was sitting at the airport, I thought, you know what, I will do both and incorporate the two into it. So, which is great because that's sort of pastel-y, and then we sort of get a bit brighter. Anyway, that's the plan. So I mentioned the wall of buttons. See, this is where I went from brights into pastels. So I picked out a few buttons. I could have picked hundreds of buttons, to be honest, but kept it under control. I don't buy a lot of buttons, actually. I did in the 90s. I was buying country-themed buttons, but I haven't really used them. I've sort of gone out of my country theme of stitching. It was probably just me missing home in the 80s, early 90s. So I was doing everything that was in those, tones, that palette of country, pumpkin scarecrows, gardening tools. So as for buttons, unless I find them at a thrift store, really, I don't have specific buttons, for a project. So it was lovely to have a look through the button wall. I usually skip it, to be honest, but it was pretty impressive, and I had time. Often I don't have time to stand and view buttons, and we were all standing there looking and looking. It was fun. So I picked up some little pastel floral buttons for Easter in mind. This little guy, he's a bit random, but I thought maybe a tie, a closure. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And then these guys, like seriously, there was a yellow one as well, and I was like, come on, enough. How many big floral, colourful buttons do you need? So I put the yellow one back and I picked up the little green one. They also had these really cool clasps. So they connect to secure something. So I thought they were very clever. That is very easy to add to a slow stitch piece. So if I see little closures like that, I've got a little tin with a couple in it. Sometimes you get them in thrift stores, but sometimes they're a little bit too specialised. But anyway, so I grabbed those little two, and I think they were very inexpensive. Now, so that's the buttons and trims. Now, they being a yarn store, great opportunity to restock some 4-ply sock yarn for thread painting. And it feels so nice. It's got a really lovely feel. They had a lovely colour palette there. So I picked up 4 of those. I had those in my hand as I walked around. I'm like, you know what? I always grab colours like this. So I walked back to say, well, what else is there? And they had more burnt, darker tones of these. And then I spotted this, and I'm like, you know what? I do like a little bit of grey and black to outline things. So I grabbed that, and that's very new for something for me to pick up. Now, in addition, she had these little packs, and I spotted it in Linda's hand, and I said, oh, where'd you get them? Now, Fiddlesticks knitting yarn, 8-ply. So technically it's 8-ply, but it's finer than what you would imagine if you were knitting a jumper in 8-ply. It's a cotton acrylic mix, and the fact that they're just little, to me, is like really cool. Now, I'm yet to thread a needle and drag it through fabric, and Linda and I were standing there talking about it, thinking, you know, I wonder how well this will perform going through fabric. So looking forward to playing with them. And you know, when you're traveling, to have little guys like this is really handy. So I end up picking up the 3 in the range. There may have been others in the range, but these were the 3 that I saw. And I'm really looking forward to having a play with them. Perfect size for us. And they've got a bit of a colour wash about them, stone wash. Now, they remind me of I'm just looking behind me at my cottons. This guy. I've got this in a colour, in a blue, darker blue, a softer blue, and this. Now, I got this guy from Spotlight, and to me it feels like it's a similar sort of product. And this is really good to stitch with and crochet with and couch down on edges of things. You know, it's just, yeah. Even if I can't drag this through fabric, I can couch with it. So I can outline a flower, stitch it all down, and then stitch within it. So yeah, I think they'll be really handy. Now, over in the corner, you'll see it on the video, she had a corner with just odds and bods of things, one roll of things. So I picked up some of these. You're probably thinking, what is she going to do with them? Okay, so what they are is, goodness knows what they are. What do they call them? Made in Italy. If I could speak Italian, I'd know. What's this one? Yeah, they don't make it easy, do they? Anyway, it is a thread trim / unusual product to be crocheting and knitting with, but I'm thinking it is great for us to trim things. So this one in particular, I could see stems and leaves and all sorts with that. Can't go wrong with a turquoise, and then a neutral, slightly wider, and then the little soft pink. So I think they were $3 each. So for that, I'm like, I'll give them a go. These will be good, this one, for binding, I thought. Putting a little edge on something as well. Bird's nests. So I grabbed those. And this little one, he's very unusual, this little guy. They had quite a few colours there, and I just went with something that reminded me of tree trunks. So it's like it separates and then it comes back together. Very unusual. make great little twigs to couch down. So that one, this is similar. Waves in the ocean, who knows? They were just cheap, $3, and I thought, well, that's something new to play with. This little guy here I thought was good for Easter. Very unusual. I have seen them at times in bags at thrift stores. You know, when you're looking in the knitting section, you often see these random balls of unusual textiles. What's the word for it? I don't know. It's not textiles. This one here is a cracker. Like, it is a mix of numerous threads. So that's got the opportunity to be broken down into small elements or together. Imagine a little birdie's nest created with all of these little bits. Looks like little sticks the birds picked up. So those. What else? I think that's it from the business that we were talking about. So Done Special. This, I think, came from Gail's. Yes, it did. So that's just a very big version of a tape measure. It's got a wire edge on it as well, which gives you some flexibility to make things, or it can just be pulled out. Like, that can be removed if you didn't want that, you know, structure at the side of your tape. Depends. You might be doing a bow on something and you want it to sit proud. Having that wire edge in there can be quite handy for shaping. Okay, I'm going to pause the video, clear the desk, because I then want to bring in some other pieces that need a bit of space. So just bear with me. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. So in the middle of all that, managed to put some washing in the dryer and put another load in. So moving all tasks forward, which is always a good thing. It is very wet here. We're in for a big rain session. So I'm filming this Sunday, and at the moment we seem to have dodged a lot of the heavy falls. They're falling literally 5 minutes south of me. So the Wide Bay, Gympie region are really getting some falls, and it's amazing that you can look at social media and see all this flooding and you're like, that is literally 5 minutes down the road, like less than 10 kilometres in some places, and they've had 200 mil, you know, 4 inches. It's incredible, and it's all fallen to in catchment areas, so all this water is coming towards the coast. So I saw the mayor of the Fraser region that has activated the floodgates that they use to save Maryborough. Like, it's amazing. And we've had beautiful, gentle showers. Like, it's overcast, and we're seeing these big blue bands go to the south of us into Hervey Bay and Maryborough and Tyro and Gympie, and we're just sitting on that edge. So touch wood, we sort of sit high and dry. There is more rain coming, but so we shall see. Anyway, sidetracked. The linens that I've acquired, now all of these have been gifted to me by Susanna. So she's so generous. She's just the kindest girl. So on my bed, she's been slinging textiles for quite some time. This piece is very unique. And I couldn't decide when she showed it to me, did you want it, did you not? I couldn't decide when I was on chat with her. It's German. I'm guessing is probably a tourist piece when you visit the townships. Like each group of dancers has the name of a town and an image of a town. And when I saw it, I'm like, I still can't decide. Do I want it? Do I not? Like, let me go up in the cameras. I just looked up and you're only seeing like a little bit of it. What I do like is the fact that it's like a bark cloth. Love bark cloth. I love this faded red trim. The people, it's pretty random. Will I ever use them? Are they taking up space in my limited space for storing textiles? That's the the discussion that goes on in my head. But I love the flowers. Love the flowers. So at this stage, it's staying as one piece. Because, gosh, it really is pretty. Like, they're so colours I like to work with as well. So who knows what will happen to it, but I'm going to give it a little spot in the cupboard. So yeah, technically I'm not German, but I'm Prussian. So Prussia is no longer a country. It's been absorbed in amongst the abyss that is Germany and Russia. So technically it's not my heritage, but it sort of is, because you know, I talked to some of my grandparents when I was younger and they'd just say German. And then the next breath they'd say Prussian. So I sort of got the impression it was just too hard to explain where you're from when it's a country that doesn't exist anymore. So I'm thinking that's how that sort of all hung in the family. And it's on both sides, bar my grandmother who was adopted, and she was English. So anyway, beside the point. Now, another little gift, Yolka gave me this beautiful piece, and it's got lavender in it. Just gorgeous. I'm really enjoying lavender sachets so that they just sit with my textiles, because there's just some you wash them and you just can still smell age. So someone mentioned on a video that just slide lavender sachets in amongst your textiles to help. So I'm starting to do that and it's making a difference. So a couple other bits of textiles. These were just some pieces that were available for anyone to take a chunk of. And what else have I got here? Some more bits and bobs from the gorgeous Susanna. Some little handkerchiefs with gorgeous laced edges. This one here I've seen many times and have used them and used them. The first ones I got, I found in Mum's cupboard. So I like those little shapes. So they can go with my little handkerchief stash. This piece here, these are always lovely to have around. Gorgeous colour palette. It's not a big one. It's not like a massive tablecloth, but there's some great little autumnal tones there. So that's a nice little piece. Lovely little embroidered lazy daisy style supper cloth. Gorgeous crocheted edge, nice and fine. Now Merle put together a button holding some little doilies, and this is the one that I chose. Gorgeous little pieces. Back to Susanna. She knows I'm on a bit of a strawberry thing at the moment, so she came across some strawberry doilies. So they'll be handy. So they'll go in my strawberry department. I like the little flowers. Look at those. Sometimes we think so much about colour and, you know, stitching bright and bold or, you know, whatever. And sometimes just a simple white flower. Yeah, don't underestimate that. This is a little Sanderson, we think Sanderson inspired, or linen placemat that someone's made. She's got some of these in kits at the moment when she put together some kits to celebrate Marianne's pouch that she made. This is a tablecloth. I don't do a lot of tablecloths, but this one just caught my eye. I don't know, I sort of feel like it's familiar. I have a feeling there was an elderly lady in my life. She was sort of a nana, but never married into the family to become officially a nana, but she was dating to some degree my pop in their later lives. Well, they all hung out together, so we always just assumed, but never really knew. Anyway, beside the point, she would have these on her table, and lots of greens, and like I think of Sarah from Roxy Creations. Sarah's got a passion for collecting these gorgeous tablecloths and preserving them, and this sort of reminds me of my adopted nana for some reason. So whether I've seen it just by watching Sarah's hauls over the years, or it was actually with Pat, and this, yeah. So when Susanna showed me, I was like, oh yeah, that's gorgeous. And I think this is probably one of 2 that I actually own. So just pretty. I don't think I'd use it in anything. I don't know. Who knows? Got so many projects in my head that seriously, it's not enough time in the day, month or year. So yeah, now that's my little fabric stashy top-up haul. Put that to one side. Now to Susanna's project. Now I can't recall if I've actually showed this on my channel yet. You will see this as a series coming within a week or so, using Susanna's panels that she created. Now she's created quite a few recently. The panel, the girls got to choose from quite a few things to do for the retreat. And what I did is I meandered across her most recent printed pieces and pulled elements that caught my eye together into another piece. So that's how I approached the sample for her retreat. So the sewing basket is a Susanna piece that I've taken and embellished and then added to an overall scene. And in my head, still life came to mind. Now, when the Roxy girls did the still life volume, anyway, it was before Gathered Pieces, I had at the beginning of that project a garden scene so that I could do lots of collaging of flowers and thread painting and, you know, really meander through a garden. And I never went down that track. I ended up doing an internal house vase on table inside a home. So I thought this was a great opportunity to explore that idea from back then, which was a table. You can see a triangular lace tablecloth here. So this is the table sitting out in the garden. The owner of the garden has dodged inside for a cup of tea, and sitting on her table is the Susanna sketched sewing basket, which I've embellished and fussy cut it out, turned under those edges and appliqued it down. So needle turned, appliqued the whole piece. The piece itself was created in a hoop off to one side and then put to one side. Then I did the vase holding all the threads, another one of Susanna's elements. I just can't remember which panel these have all come from because I was lucky enough to have her 2 sewing inspired panels. The one has a sewing machine in it and the one has this. And then in addition, for those who weren't inspired by sewing elements, she did a peekaboo bunny, and that was to peek behind a tree, and in the distance was a vintage piece of printed cloth that she found in her travels of a farmer walking through a paddock, and it looked like some big jacarandas. So a few of the girls chose that project called Peekaboo Bunny and embroidered the jacaranda and started putting a village or a farmhouse into the scene. Like, oh, there's some great things happened. So Susanna has 2 things on her website. You can buy Peekaboo Bunny by himself, which is the element that I use, or you can pick up the little pack that some of the girls use, which has that vintage piece of, it sort of looks like bark cloth, but it was a really, no, it wasn't actually, it was finer than that. It was a lot finer fabric. So you've got a couple options. You can get the 2 sewing panels. Actually, hold that. I've still got them sitting over to one side. Let me just give you a little bit more information. So Peekaboo Bunny came to me as a PDF because he was still at the printer, and that's him there. So myself had to transfer it onto some calico, and then I thread painted him and then added little bits of lace to build up texture in his fur. So you can see his cheek has a doily on it. There's a little bit of crocheted lace coming in on that side of his head. I worked some little elements of crocheting and then thread painted in behind it all. So lots and lots. His hip has got a little bit of crocheting there. So if you go to Susanna's website and you'd like to get some of the elements that I've used in this project, you would need Peekaboo Bunny, and you could get the one by himself because you're going to create something brand new out of all of the elements. These are the two sewing panels that Susanna created. She did this one a little time ago, I think it was last year, and this is the latest one. So you can see I've taken the sewing basket, and there's the jar of threads. I had planned to take some more of the elements, but it very quickly filled up, and I'm like, okay, calm the farm, we don't need to go to that degree. There was plenty. This was a piece of linen that came from a retreat I did years ago, and I was just never happy with the project, and it sort of just hung in the cupboard. So I pulled apart what I had done, leaving a few bits and bobs, and then reapplied more pieces that were more me, and that's where you can see some elements that may seem familiar. So taking along the lines of what I learnt doing my still life, of building in lots of bits and bobs and then embellishing them like these crocheted flowers, bringing in more fabrics. This is another fabric that got added in addition, and that sort of became the rambling rose that then pops up over here and here. Look, it's all explained in the series as I meander my way through the project. Now you'll notice up the top here is a little blue wren. Now Susanna's been running a series of monthly stitch alongs with all these critters, birds and fauna and flora. So I harvested the wren. I thread painted him and used some ribbons to embellish him. Once again, cutting out 1/4 of an inch all the way around, and then tucking that under as I applied him to the piece. So you can sort of see how leading up to the actual piece, I created the wren, the sewing basket, and the glass jar of threads and Peekaboo Bunny. Then I found this piece of linen, which already had the border and some flowers, and then deconstructed it a little bit and reconstructed. So this panel here is from a print of vintage sewing, vintage seedlings. I can't remember the details of it. I've packed it all away now because I filmed this series late last year, so that I knew when I got back from Ballarat it was ready to go for you guys. So there'll be more details in the actual series coming. So that's there just to gel it together. It was sort of sitting there and that was plain, and I didn't mind it, but I'm like, oh, I need something to bring the whole project together. So that's how that happened. What else in the basket. So in Susanna's example, which will also be a series coming for you guys, she's used the English paper piecing, English paper piecing hexagons project, where she created a little hexagon quilt in tiny little hexagons, and that's spilling out of her basket. And about the time that I was filming this, I was making miniature quilts for my mouse chateau. So I picked some fabrics and made a little log cabin block, a tiny one here. So that one's nearly completed. That one's sort of completed. Let me bring it up to the camera. Then I used some trim, so it looks like she's got a tape measure in her basket. Some of the girls, Susanna provided lots of vintage bits and bobs to put into the top here, like little hooks and eyes and some old needle holders. So, they look so fantastic. Just some vintage elements to sit in there. And then on the edge of the table are some scraps of fabrics that whoever owns this project is yet to pick them up and, create something. So I think that's about all that I can tell you about this piece. But like I said, the series will kick off, I think Susanna's got hers to start about the 18th and 19th. I might be wrong. And mine's around the 21st, 22nd. I might be wrong. So all of these printed pieces, this panel doesn't come like this. It comes with, these can be bought individually, which is quite clever too, because then she can use just standard letter to ship it out to you guys, which is saving so much cost. So, but she just shot this to me in the mail last year because it was printed on a whole piece, and then she separated them to get that postage down. So there's these little guys now on her website, and you're probably familiar with them anyway because she's been using them in her Flora and Fauna stitch along. That's available on her website, and which is the piece she launched at the retreat. That's from her stitch along she did late last year, also on her website. And then Peekaboo Bunny, which is now printed onto some cloth, is also available on her website. So there you go. If you wanted to join me with this, you'll need that one, the Wren, and Peekaboo Bunny. So there's 4 you would need to grab if you wanted to have a go at doing a garden still life. So really pleased with it. You know, I've definitely got more still lifes in me. I really enjoy the construction of it. Not so much, you know, the stitching just happens. It just sort of evolves. But it's the layout. How do you get your vase and your flowers to work together in a portrait style piece, you know, when they paint these still lives? I'm really enjoying that. And as you know, my previous textile tails project was still lives. So having completed this late last year, and then off I went on my little jaunt around Italy with the girls, that still life process of creating a still life was still resonating with me. So this was an easy task to grab when it came down to the girls project, because once again, you know, the table, the vase and the flowers, but in miniature this time, which is great because, you know, these take so much time. They really do. But to have a smaller size project, from memory, the size of this little guy, 7.5 inches by 6.5 inches. So if still life is something you'd like to explore, but you're thinking it needs to be a big grand piece, no, not at all. Not at all. Just get yourself a small little frame size piece, and then you have to think about your flowers will need to be smaller instead of big bulbous. You know, some of these flowers are like the size of a cookie, where these flowers are itty bitty tiny little elements from the Liberty fabric. So yeah, I really enjoy the old still life. Anyway, I think that's it. Oh, last thing I just spotted, I found myself another spool. Getting one of those to add to the spool pile. I think that's it. All right, guys. Yeah, I think that's it. What I'll play now for you is all of the footage that I gathered from the retreat and the gallivanting we did, and yeah, what else did I have? I do have some bits and pieces here that I took as homework that I stitched while the girls were stitching, but I'll show you them at the time that they're needed to be shown, if that makes sense, because these are projects that are in the filming process and I just took as homework. So we won't clog your minds with so much stuff. All right, anyway, look after yourselves and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, guys. Hi, everyone. I'm still at Susanna's retreat. Hi, Susanna. Hi. We're just sitting here admiring this mouse mansion made by Vicki, and Vicki's kindly popped it in her suitcase and brought it down to Ballarat to the retreat. So we're going to give you a bit of a tour, and there's a story building here that is going to be connected to my mouse mansion. So let's move on in. Now this is a little house that Vicki found for how much? She's standing just over my shoulder. $2 at the tip shop. She's taken it home and has built her furniture and her mises and all of the trimmings. And I love the way that she's decorated the panels that make the house. Now don't expect this from me because my house is huge, but when Vicki did this a couple months ago, I saw it, it did give me an idea for my textile tales. Hence, my little house that the books all sit in will be embellished to some degree. Not to this degree, mind you. Like, seriously, look at the garden with the bird water bath. Oh, and the bicycle.
The mouse is adorable.
And some mices. And I was saying to Vicki, my ladder is single chain stitch, but no, crocheting teacher for Crocheting Australia, who hosts tours on ships, cruise ships and that, and travels Australia teaching. She has leaves, you know, and all this embellishment going on that chain stitch. Like, don't expect that from me. Anyway, let's get into the lounge room. Like, look at that, guys. I did not believe what I saw when she opened it. I was like, look at that. Is that a lamp? Oh, like the lamp.
Yeah, the more you see.
Oh, it's
the
just.
more you look, the more you see.
I'll come back to the corner post of that bed because that's the link to the trouble that's now at the Mouse Chateau. As you would have seen in Monday's episode, a bad boy's in town. He's been to the Louvre, he's stolen some Van Goghs, he's stashing them at the chateau. And Miss Skeeter, the silly little mouse, she's just starry-eyed and in love. Just silly mouse. Look at it. Look at this. So if we zoom in to the corner of that bed, see the diamond? So there's a thief that's hidden a diamond in this house. So what do you need when there's crime afoot? But you need a policeman. So Vicki has kindly gifted me one as well. So my policeman, which you'll hear more about in future videos, which will probably be end of May, early June, he is going to be Inspector Le Clermont, because Vicki lives in Claremont, Western Queensland. So we now have a Constable Bobby on his way to the chateau to find an art thief. But in the meantime, this gentleman has to work out how that diamond came to be. So it's just getting out of hand, basically. Just basically. And look at this.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
She's crocheted an itty-bitty mousey toy house. Isn't that just, like, seriously? Oh, my goodness. All right, pack her up. Show us how it folds up, Vic. And then, so the girls are still coming. It's the day 2, and they haven't all arrived. So we're just taking a moment to be silly and play with doll houses.
Revisiting our childhood.
That's so
little
cute.
lights. Hey.
So if you're part of our Facebook group, Stitched Vintage Treasures with Tia and Susanna, you would have seen some of these photos pop up a month or so ago now. But look at all this quilting.
Yeah, and they can see the side thing
Look
too.
at the bird, and then down here. Tell us what you did with these lamp posts. That
They're
was
actually
clever.
meant to be wired. They have wires when you buy them to be lit, but I'm not doing that, so I broke this bit off because I wanted mine to be able to lay flat when I open this down.
Yeah.
And I hinged them again with just a strip of black fabric.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gives me that.
Flexibility to flex
I
them.
mean, I'll fix it when I get home. It's been on a plane, it's been in bags, it's been everywhere, so it'll probably need another little stitch in there by the looks of it. But anyway, I'll do that later.
Look at the side.
There's still lots of doilies, so all the elements of slow stitching are still in there. So.
Oh, it's just gorgeous. And I like how there's little stories happening, like the pheasant makes sense in that garden. Really cool.
And this, when I was doing this, was when the Bondi tragedy was on. So this is the backyard with all the advertising, you know, where towns are. So I made sure I've got a Bondi one in all of that. So,
Look at that.
and things that are relevant in Queensland and that are there too, because that's where I'm from. So, yeah.
So Claremont, just let us know, if we were to drive up the Bruce Highway, which connects Brisbane to Cairns, where would we turn off to go to Claremont? Emerald.
So, yeah, well, if you're going, you need to turn off at Rocky and come through
Yep.
Emerald and up to us that way, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Rockhampton, Emerald, and up to Claremont. So for those of you overseas, that's where you would find Claremont.
More side.
And Inspector Le Clermont, that's where he comes from. That's where he was birthed, with needle and thread.
It actually sounds French. If you
Yeah.
And Claremont is named after a French explorer that was there,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Well, there you
there you
go.
go. Meant
And
to
I
be.
just chucked in the le to sound professionally Frenchish.
you're right on target.
Yeah,
Right.
Le Clermont. You should have seen Gary's face when I said it. She sent me a picture a week or so ago, and I said, "Oh, Inspector Leclermont," and he goes, "Did that just sound French?" I'm like, "Yeah." So thanks, Vicki. I'm panning around.
Oh,
Hi. Thanks, Vic, for bringing that and sharing your creation, because it's just adorable.
carry-on luggage fits perfect. Plenty of room, smaller than my Vuitton thing.
Awesome, awesome. And these were, what's the story with these little
A
guys?
friend of mine from Mackay, Gail Susanna, who's now joining.
Hi, Gail. I hear you're a slow stitcher too and catching up fast.
Yes,
Welcome to
into
the
Mouse
gang.
Mansion. She's getting right in. So, yep. So she found them in one of those bed and linen shops. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she got me the whole set of them. Yeah.
Cute.
Oh, they're
This one
gorgeous.
was perfect for the little ladder. He looks like he's throwing her up so she can get
Yeah.
upstairs. Yeah. So.
They're not bad scale-wise. Like, he would
No.
duck his head, but it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Well, because I keep him on the outside, he doesn't need to fit inside.
Yeah.
So it gives that illusion. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll pause the video and I'm sure there'll be more bits of crazy adventures we get up to. All right, guys. See you soon. Okay, we've just arrived at So Darn Special, another Ballarat treasure. I've never been here. We've had so many things to do when we do a Susanna retreat that she's managed to squeeze this shop in. So really looking forward to having a little look. We'll see you soon. Hi everyone. So Susanna has taken us to a local business. This one I've never been to. So Darn Special. Has a little bit of everything. So the girls have graciously let me do a little video for you all. So, and here's the cute thing. Look, see that blue frame? I used to work for Blockbuster Video, and that frame was signature for all of their businesses. So that was a bit cute when I walked in the door. Look at all the buttons. If you haven't seen my haul yet, you'll know what I purchased out of that. So got ribbons and threads. Now, the other half of the store over to my left is all yarns. So if you're a knitter, crocheter, fantastic range of yarns. This is where I found those specialty pieces of yarn, which I think are going to be great for couching, trimming things. That was my idea when I saw that little one. So we'll move over here. Lots and lots of knitting in the distance. Trims, laces, gorgeous, something different. So that's 8 ply. I picked up sock yarn, which, you know, I'm going to use for thread painting, which was around the corner. But they've got some interesting threads here, like, you know, great for stitching or knitting. So around here is where I found the sock yarn. Here I got the orange, the charcoal and the hot pink and the turquoise. I nearly took one of those, but I think I got something similar to that already. Linda, she grabbed this one, great for foliage, stems, couching, etc. So yeah, specialty yarn stores are really a great source for finding threads that we can slow stitch with. Lots and lots of bits. I picked up the clover cutter here. Where was it? I had one already at home and it's so good, and I've popped it on a chain, so when I'm on a plane it just looks like a little necklace and it can cut. So I grabbed another one of those. So the girls are fantastic, very helpful. Now I'll put the details of their website in the description below. If you can't find an item in particular that you've seen me show, just give them a call, because they post orders, can take a phone order, and they'll certainly be more than happy to help us girls out. So awesome, great little shop. All right, guys, see you in the next section. Okay, you guessed it, you can't come to Ballarat without a trip to Gail's Patchwork Emporium. Here we go. I have to be honest, I was here yesterday, made my purchases, and some of the girls had their vouchers still. They'd forgotten it. So we decided to do a quick jump in the car and come down and visit the store. And I thought I'll come while it's quietish and do a video for all you guys. So very, very cool shop. Just gorgeous. So I'll show you some of the things I've got. Well, if you've watched my haul, you would have seen, oh, I like that range. Very pretty. I didn't even notice that yesterday. Lovely. So I bought trims. So Gail's got a gorgeous selection of trims up here in this cupboard. And I was looking for fine trims, but didn't really find too much, but found trims that were about, half an inch. So not sure what I'll use them for, but I picked up a few little trims. Oh, I didn't see that one the other day. Still not as fine as I wanted. I'm sort of looking for that 1/4 inch trim. So yeah, I'll just wander around the store. If I see anything of interest, I'll point it out. It's tricky when you're with a big group because items go into little baskets, head up to the register, and then as we're all going through, you're spotting things being chopped and packed and you didn't even realise it was in the building. So it will be interesting to see if we spot anything else. Susanna got a beautiful cake serving bowl, similar to these tones, like a little pedestal with a plate on top with a bunny for Easter. It was so pretty. So over here is another little nook. There's treasures in there.
There's that one too. That's different.
There's the girls. Say hi, girls. Wave to the camera. There's Gail. Hey.
And then there's French ones.
Christmas. I think it's Vicky's looking for a particular Christmas panel, and I think it's from this company, and she's doing little hexies with the imagery from those, that particular designer. So that's why she's here, to get some more fabric to make more of the hexagons. Oh, yeah, I was looking at this yesterday. Oh, isn't it just beautiful? Don't know what I'd use it for, but anyway, we can admire it. I think I got that last time I was here. Lots of goodies. I'll head back to the front door because just off to my left is where the Japanese fabrics are. And that's the beauty of this store. You can drift from designer to designer and find all sorts of things. And in this, look at all the brights, but around this corner are all the Japanese textiles. I was thinking of you, Dawn, when I was perusing these, but I was strong. I didn't pick any up this time. Just gorgeous. And then spin back around, and then look at that colour overload down here, and then the threads, you name it's in here. Oh, look at those. Haven't seen them before. Oh my goodness, who's that? Sparkle Pearl Cotton. Oh, okay. Beautiful. That's something different. Keep looking. Keep looking. Lots of packs too, all cut, ready to go. Look, I've just made it all fuzzy by putting my hand in there. I picked up my applique pins here, and then the normal really sharp pins. I like these patchwork pins, nice and sharp. So there you go. We were admiring this picture too. Look at this oil painting above the register. How gorgeous is that? Just beautiful. All right, guys, I'll sign out, wrangle these girls back into the car, and we'll get back to the retreat. We'll see you all soon. Well, the last day of the retreat, and we're out gathering treasures. So we're in the little town of Malden, and we've all been to a French shop that's just in there, and the girls found some lovely treasures and meandered our way down the footpath to two thrift stores that are side by side there. So the girls are all in there having a bit of a rummage, and I'm just making my way back to the centre of town where Susanna's got a lovely high tea booked for us. So that's our trip into Malden, and then we leave here and we're going to the mill markets. Can't remember the name of the town, but anyway, I'll tell you in a few seconds, I'm sure, when we get there. All right, guys, see you soon. Okay, we've had our high tea and we've driven to Daylesford, and we're now going to have a look around the mill markets. So lots of different vendors selling all their vintage wares. So I'll pause the video as I enter and then catch you in a moment. Okay, we're inside and look what I found. Taxidermied mice. Hey guys, look, actual mice dancing ballerinas. Oh my goodness, the things you find. So everyone has their little stalls. So it's a case of just having a wander and seeing what we can see. You can see girls already in here. Lots of treasures. Be interesting to see what they all dig out. Hope that music doesn't cause me issues, but anyway, I bet it does. Alright, I shall pause the video. Sorry about that. Some of the girls were like, look what I found, look what I found. And then there was a rush and I thought, oh, I'll just turn the camera off and see what's going on over in the corner. They found some vintage fabrics. So carrying on, looking, observing. Wow. This is like lots of collections of random collections. This little booth, it's a big booth. I could hear a couple ladies talking one row over and they're swearing quite a bit. So I do apologise if you hear some swear words in a minute. They seem quite frustrated with the way the world is going at the moment. So I'll try and... They're just gorgeous. I think you might have just spotted them sitting there. I'm going to double back in another section. Well, there's some thimbles. Look. Hope I'm not going too fast for you guys. I know those viewers from overseas enjoy seeing a little slice of Australian bits and bobs. I'm going to head back this way. Oh, look at those, an old sewing basket. How much are you, my little dear sewing basket? $29. Little sewing basket. I think I did walk in here. I saw some textiles there. Oh, the girls are going to find heaps of things. I think I saw a doorway down here, so we might swing down that corridor. There's that music again. There's some more sewing baskets. Let's have a little look. Can't hurt. Oh, you're unusual, aren't you? How much are you? Makes it hard. $49 for that little one. And there's another one. A few of the girls have picked up sewing baskets. There you go, Vicki. Your one that you got in Smythe style for $5 was a really good buy. There's some bits and bobs. Head over into this corner. There's a bunny. Lots of bunnies. I spotted that bunny in the teacup, and then there's this bunny. Some fabric down there. Gosh, if anything, you go too fast, you don't see half of it, if not any of it, really. You really got to stop and look. Oh my goodness, it's overwhelming. All right, I was pretty sure I saw a corridor down this way. This is a nursery. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, wow. Just gorgeous. Look at the felt birds. Aren't they well made? Just gorgeous. But wait, there's more. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's pretty. $68. Books. Putting a sign up.
Have a look up there.
Oh, look at the dried flowers. Some usual pieces of furniture.
Only up and down on the front.
Oh.
It's only up, isn't it?
Silk embroidery. Look at the old cupboard. Oh my goodness. Little tray. There's that music again. Oh, look at all the jewellery. Oh my goodness me. Wow, very well presented. I bet Vicki finds that. She won't be able to help herself. Oh, look at the old kettle that's got a print. I didn't know they came with a print like that. Oh, Rabbit Central. Look, look, look. Rabbit Central. Nothing vintage in there. Books. Coca-Cola. Memorabilia. Wow, what a collection that is. Oh, look at the turtle up there. This is probably more of a Gaz booth than a me. Very cool. Blankets. Textiles. Ruby glass. Check the bracelets, Corrine. You never know. There might be a brass bangle. Nope. Ooh, what's that? Nope. Even they're getting harder to find. Plenty of blankets. Oh, there's some old jewellery. Look at that. Some special pieces in there. Gosh, special prices too. Oh, look at those. I bet they're worth a fortune now. $95. Oh, there's heaps. Heaps, heaps, heaps. Yeah, see, that's the kettles. I remember that. There's another one. $65 and the hinge is broken. Oh my goodness me. Old tiles. Gosh. Look at that for an old book. I wonder what that is. Wouldn't that make a great journal? I just don't want to touch anything. I feel like that lot would cascade on top of me. Oh my goodness me. Heaps and heaps of things. Leather. So there's sort of artisans mixed in amongst it all. just pass. Hello. Random pieces. Sometimes you gotta look under the table, don't you? Like, look low, look high. One pack of fabric, $10. Oops, Corrine, you just knocked a teapot. Oh my goodness, that was close, guys. I caught it. I have lightning flash reaction times. Not. It's because the teapot handle was twisted in my handbag. It's the only reason I caught it. Tools. I'm sure last time I was here there was a lady who made clothing out of, oh look at that candelabra up there. There was a lady that did recycled clothing somewhere in around here. Oh goodness me. I'm cutting aisles here. I really don't know where I'm going. I'm just wandering. Just meandering. You could spend hours here. I'm sure I'm missing treasures. Doesn't matter. Don't need any more treasures, guys. We're just looking. Look at all the knobs to put on your furniture. An old sewing machine. Well, this has potential if there's an old sewing machine. Here's another one. $48, $52. Hokey Nelly. It's always when I get back and I watch this footage back that I see things that I didn't notice. There's a piece of milk glass, $58. Silver crested, you see the clear glass sitting on top of the milk glass. Fenton silver crested. That's classic milk glass for our country. But that piece that I just looked at, that's an American piece. Real homewares one, this little shop. Blanket, $45 for a blanket. Doesn't even look that big. It's one of the girls passing me now. She has her hands empty. She's not working hard enough. Can you guys hear that? There was a call out. Customers, attention please. Caroline, your partner is waiting at the front counter for you. She did strife. Oh, look at the old record boombox cassette player, double deck cassette player. My goodness. I'm going to be in a vintage store soon. Gee, that's primitive. Rolling pins. It's very, very odd. Alright guys, I might pause the video, and if I see anything really exciting, I'll, because I've only just gone down one aisle, I'll grab the camera. Carnival glass. I'll grab the camera and turn it on. I'll just do a lap through this store. But glass, lots of glass. Oh, look at that. I've never seen one of those. Is that old or is it new-ish? How much are they selling a rolling pin? $45. Never seen them like that. I've seen them, you know, where you fill them with water, more modern stuff, but not that. Oh, look at the clock. Look, guys. Very cool. All right, I shall pause the video and go and find the girls and see what they're up to. Well, I'm outside now. They changed the radio station and the volume got really loud, and I just thought I'd come out, sit in the cool and show you what I actually chose. It's a English Duchess tray with the lace and the stitching in the center. Yeah, really nice. It'll be nice to have to display some of my bits and bobs on, and it's still got the original little English label. So very cool. Very happy with that. All right, guys, that's probably it for my trip to Ballarat, finishing with this. Tomorrow I head back to Melbourne, camp the night near the airport, and then early flight home to Hervey Bay. Look at the weather, turned it on.